Pakistanis are all over the world in every continent, and even in our own family. Now we have North America, Canada and America, and then we have Australia, and we were in Africa, right? Saudi Arabia, but all that,
Nigeria.
Nigeria and all that. Not anymore. But so we also spread out, and with families, not just young people, and thank God that all of us who uh, left our own country, they are still, connected, and also they are doing very well wherever they are, financially and otherwise.
They do.
Yeah, so that's great. Uh, so um,
Good. So we can move on to the next portion of this. I suppose you want to talk about like family life, like the relationships you had with your brothers and sisters.
growing up,
Yes.
we were poor.
Maybe even cousins, like
Yeah.
and things.
Yes. In Pakistan, family is a word which is used. There are several circles of it. You have a nucleus family, you have an extended family, and you even have what we call bradri, where a good number of families are connected with one another. Uh, when we arrived in Pakistan, in Karachi, then there were few families, but they felt as a larger family. Our own, we were 6 siblings, and it was an average number. It was neither a very large family nor a very small one. And initially, maybe we lived in an apartment of just 2 rooms, and then we were able to build a house in suburbs, which had more space, and we were going to school. We were able to play in the streets, minded there were no grounds or there were no arrangements. We will walk to school maybe 15-20 minutes away, and there was not even electricity at some places in Karachi in the early 50s, so you will study after dark in a lamp, and that is how we studied and we went on. But when you recollect, then maybe it was a very good time. You had strong bonds, and you felt like a free spirit, and it was a fine feeling. The struggle continued. We tried to find a better neighborhood, better living, and then we started graduating and coming into employment and changing the atmosphere, the monetary environment, and all that. And then, of course, my elder brother and sister, they started getting married, and you have new family members coming in. It was sort of a struggle and achievement, both going on together. There were difficult times and there were happy times.
I think difficult time was when I was a child and you were a little older. Of course, you were in college, and then but everybody was supporting you, and Sabi Bhai, were working and supporting the whole family. It was like a joint family system, truly joint family system where financially you're making contribution, and we lived. I mean, we lived very poorly when I was a child. When the house was being built, and we were living in the house which is being built.
Yes.
So at that time, of course, you don't have all the amenities. But I think I enjoyed, because it was my own house, right? I was not in a rented place. We enjoyed. I remember, that the mason masonry, you know,
Coming in.
they're coming in, making bricks, and then they're putting in the wall, and
A
you know,
new
the
room
roof,
added.
and yeah, room added, and so okay, this is gonna be, and then we had a lot of land to work, and Abba was very fond of you know, gardening, so he did that, and you know, we grew fruits, you know, bananas and mangoes and jamun. Jamun was very rare fruit that you don't find it, and people used to come because it was good for the diabetics. So we used to distribute, everyone said, okay, take it, take it. So we had the fruits and everything, and you know, that house in Shafabad, you know, 141 Shafabad, even after so many years, I used to dream, and I'm always in 141 Shafabad, even though I was living here.
That
But-
was a center.
Yeah, that
It was
the
not
center.
only a
Yeah.
center for Mohsin family,
Yeah.
but many people around, they would come there and they would feel that they have come to their sort of ancestral home
Yeah.
or to a family which carries the heritage, and they felt very homely, and
Right.
that was a place,
And-
141 Shafabad.
Yeah, I mean, very good memories. I don't know how many weddings, and my own wedding, you know, when I went back with Marilyn, you know, we had some fake wedding, kind of, not fake, but real wedding.
Simulated.
Simulated, yes. Wedding, you know, in that house. And then, you know, of course, holiday was the reception, but all the mehndi and all those kind of things, you know. Marilyn had no family there, so somebody became her family, you know, part of our family, and it was very nice, good welcome, you know, for Marilyn, and Amma was alive, and she really, you know, I mean, I don't know what she felt inside, but outside, she welcomed Marilyn the way like she was waiting for her, and Marilyn.
Yes, they had a very good communication, although there was no common language, but they communicated well and they had very great feelings for each other.
Talk specifically about your sisters and brothers, you know, Sabi.
Yes, Sabi Bhai, the eldest one, he took care of us and he worked very hard and he had a good vision and he knew where we all should head towards. Even about our education, he was a good guide and we all did well. We owe to him that he made us work hard and achieve our targets.
Yep. Baijan was, you know, was a father figure for all of us. And maybe not for you because, you know, you were also helping. But for me and even Bobby participated in a lot of activities, you know, as like a second mother. To at least for me, you know, because I was youngest, I was only 4 years old when they got married. So, you know, I have a different view for them and a lot of respect.
There was a time when we brothers and sisters, we were not all in our Shafabad house. We kept going and coming back. I had a job in Balochistan University in Quetta, so many a times I will be in Quetta and come back to Karachi for vacation. Then there was a movement towards Middle East, and my two sisters, both of them moved to Saudi Arabia and they stayed there for many years or even decades. They used to come, and then our brother Afzal, he also moved to Saudi Arabia. So there was a period of temporary migration where we were not all in Karachi, not all in Pakistan. So we were working here and there, and it was a home where you assembled at occasions like Eid or like on some wedding. And we can say that was a time of prospering, exploring, and at the same time having a center where everyone would come back. The children, the cousins, the next generation, we all live together, and they must have very good memories of that house, that time, that family environment. And yes, I also feel the same way. That was the place. Till 90s, we had that house, we had that joint family living. But then, as you see, changes are inevitable. They do come, and you have to spread. One of the reasons for my coming back to Pakistan was to get married. And not only get married myself, but get married my sister also. So our marriage, it happened together, me and my younger sister. And it was, of course, an arranged marriage, a match which was very closely a good match for both of us. And it was a pretty grand marriage by standards of that time. And but then it was short period that we lived there, because I was in Quetta and posted, and we moved there. And as I said, my younger sister, she moved her family to Saudi Arabia. Yes, people remember that marriage. They said that both the couples were good couples and equally appreciated, and all kinds of ceremony and celebrations, and they were there and people enjoyed it. Yes.
Actually, your marriage has one unique thing also that is very common in our culture, and that is we can translate to that to exchange marriage, which means that one brother and sister married to another brother and sister. So it's exchange marriage, and it's of course the cousins, they have a double relationship.
Yes.
From the father side and the mother side both. And it's very common, and in our family it happened twice.
Yeah.
You know, Sabi and Appa, and then you and me. So and then me and Afzal Bhai were the one that we didn't have any tag along, marriage, sisters. But even I think Afzal Bhai was also arranged marriage. So I'm the only black sheep, that who got married on his own. But I had the luxury to do that, because I had no responsibility, even though my mother, before I was coming here, wanted me to get married and then come, or at least have a nikah. But for several reasons, I couldn't have done that, and I think I did the right thing. Because first of all, when you are going to a new country, new place, you don't know that what the future holds.
That's right.
And so if I make a commitment with anyone, it's not going to be fair, because I don't know how long it's going to take me to come back. And so that was one of the reason. And I was not ready. I mean, I was only 24 years old. I mean, how could I just say, okay, let's get married? Because I have to explore. And I was very curious mind, always, and still I am. I wanted to explore. And one irony is that, I never planned to come to America. It just happened. And that's why I started to believe in fate and destiny. Never thought about it, even though my friends, they always talk about going to America or Europe and make a plan, because we didn't have the money, so how are we going to get there, in the truck or whichever way, the cheaper way, because we didn't have money. But I never planned, and it just happened. Somebody just was coming, one friend of mine in university, and he said, I'm going, and if you want to go, I'll tell you who to meet. My father-in-law is an American consulate, and just go and talk to him. And he really gave me an idea, his father-in-law, and said, okay, do this, this, and this, and he just applied and consulate. Even though I was doing very well in Pakistan at that time. I was employed by two magazines, one from Karachi and one from Lahore. So two salary is very unheard of there, because here you have always have a one full-time or part-time or two full-time job. People do it here, but over there they don't have opportunity even if they want to do it. But I had it at younger age. I was like 24 and I had two salaries, two jobs, and still I was not satisfied because that was in my bag. I can always do it, but what I haven't seen, I want to explore. So when my friend talked to me, and asked me, I said, okay, sure, I'm interested. And I just applied, I got the visa, and within 2 months from that visa time, I was here. So in 2 months, my mother, of course, was very panicky, and of course, the stories that she heard, and I don't blame her, but she was very much concerned that I don't know what's going to happen to him and all that. But here I am, I'm still okay, and the promise that I made to my mother, I kept it. I said, I'm going to write you every week, and I did. And I kept going every 2 years while she was alive. And last time I went was 1996, the year she died. While I was there, it is just coincident. And after that, I didn't go for 8 years. And then I started going because then I thought that, no, I still have family. Yeah, mother was more attraction, but I still go, my nephews, nieces, and everybody is there. So, so it was nice.
You are right.
Yeah.
I always thought that you were doing very well in Pakistan. And if you would have stayed there, you would have been as successful as you are here. I'm sure you would have been a managing director of a channel if you were in Pakistan, which was as wonderful. But as I said, that I do appreciate that you wanted to explore the world. You wanted to explore your own talent. And you did it, which is a good thing.
Nice, very nice.
Radio was the very important aspect in families in many ways. The news was as important part of radio as was the entertainment. The radio dramas were very popular. The film songs that they broadcasted, there were many fans for that. And I would say that our cultural activity actually surrounded towards two things. One was the family weddings and family functions, and the other was around radio. And that was a good part of our early period in Pakistan, maybe 20 years that way. Cinema was there, and occasionally you will go for that. But it was not, it wasn't a main feature of entertainment or culture. The main feature remained radio, but cinema supplemented it. And then there was advent of television, and that changed the whole scenario. Pakistani culture has always been a point of discussion because religion played an important part. And we always looked at the cultural activities, that whether they were conforming with the religion or whether they had, it was a deviation. So for example, dancing was never part of our culture, except a folk dance, for example. And painting and sculpture and all these activities, they were not considered, they were not appreciated from religious point of view. So, and theatre never prospered. Maybe it was difficult, maybe it was costly, maybe people did not respond to it that much. So, in the early part it was radio, in the latter part it was television, which formed the basis of the entertainment part. The informed part was, of course, newspaper, magazines and books. among magazines, there were a large number of digests in Urdu language which was read by women folk in large numbers. Men also enjoyed it. And there was a good 20 years when digests were popular with short stories and with biographies and with horror stories and with all kinds of fiction. Uh, there was a decline in all kinds of cultural activities, whatever meager there were. Yes, one thing I should mention about Mushaira, reciting poetry by the poets themselves and the people collected and appreciating it is a part of our culture. And it survived for long, and I think it is surviving even overseas. A poet comes from Pakistan or from India and he is heard and people gather to listen to him. The Afghan war really changed Pakistan from all aspects, and equally it impacted the cultural activities, and it became more confined, more restricted, and few things were allowed, and more it was not possible other activity than what you do. You came into discussions, we came into discourse, and there are TV talk shows, and politics took the upper hand, and we got all involved into that, and culture took an absolutely back seat. You don't have much going on in Pakistan. Maybe you have more activities here outside the country than what is going on there.
Very good.
One thing we did not mention. What, you recording?
Oh, if you.
When you were talking about media, one thing that you did not talk that with the radio and newspaper, what are our own families' involvement?
Oh, we are the family of journalists.
Yeah.
The mass communication department, which was called journalism department, there the teacher claimed that they are teacher of the whole family. I don't know, we have 4 or 5.
Well, we have
Now,
five.
including media
Now,
science, where 6 or 7 family members have graduated in media science, journalism, mass communication. And we all were part of it. I was the one who did not go as a student of journalism, but in radio and TV I have participated off and on. And perhaps the most significant part was that for 2 years I was a newscaster of Pakistan television from Quetta station. It was a newly built station in Quetta. There were very few people and I was teaching there, so they just came exploring if any young professor wants to broadcast the news. So I participated in it. But our family is fully involved. It is their career, it is their passion, it is their interest, and the younger generation is equally involved.
Yeah.
2 of the daughters of our nieces, they have graduated and doing media science, making films, making videos, and even going to have a career in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new media that they are in, Huma and Kinza. And before that, I think Azra and Zarwin also went for journalism department. And before that, we 3 of us, Bhaijan started and he graduated in 60s and then early 70s, Afzal Bhai, and then right after that, mid 70s, I graduated. And at one point, we all 3 were working as a journalist and writing. So journalism and radio has been very close to us, and you talk about the TV, and so all kind of media we were involved. We are media people, and I'm sure.
And Azra's husband, Mujib, he has been producing commercial films.
Right.
Yes.
And now in North America,
Yes.
Mr. Cheyenne are doing something closer to the journalism. which right now he's doing, making this documentary about, our past and present, Pakistani, culture and everything. So that's another medium.
The heritage continues.
Heritage continues in different forms.
Yes.
Mm. Talk about media today. Well, did we go over that? That, what is the main form of communication today? How do you see the news? How is the news perceived by the audience?
Yeah, we can talk about the past, that it was only one television, now we have so many, and those kind of things, has changed, how many TV, how many radio, now we have FM radios and newspaper.
Yes, media has flourished in Pakistan. It has diversified. It has been a very big success from business point of view as well, from viewership also. But in a short time, media saw its peak popularity, and then it's now somewhat indisciplined, and it needs to be improved. That is what I strongly feel. But it has a very sufficient influence on people, their thinking, their makeup of mind. And if you want to improve something in the country, then media has a very strong role to play, which it is not doing at the moment, but the potential is there and it should do. That is what I feel about it.
Yeah, when I was back there, it was only one television, PTV, Pakistan Television, and it was controlled by the government. Many newspapers were controlled by the government and censored, and you cannot write anything against the government or president. But then I started seeing, maybe last 15 years, I would say, 10, 15 years, when now there are, I think, 80 channels.
Something like that.
Okay, and then we have a lot of FM radios. They have for all kind of different, every category has, radio. And the newspaper was always there and is still there, even though having difficulty, the print media all over the world. Even New York Times has a problem here, it's like a dying, because of the digital, awareness and familiarity. Younger people, they are reading newspaper on the computer. So over there is also, affecting. So, yeah.
I wanted you to touch on that last bit of it. The internet. You're still an educator, and you're still conversing with your students, and you see that over the years, and more recently, the internet has maybe turned their perspective, or have you seen any difference in the way they think, or
Yes, the ways of communication have changed. Perhaps it's the cellular phone, the mobiles. They have had more effect on Pakistan community rather than internet. Internet is still limited only to the educated people, and somewhat affluence is also required if you for the use of internet. But mobile phones, they have penetrated to all strata of society. And mind it, Pakistan is a highly stratified society. People from different classes have very different living styles. But mobile phone has been a common factor to all of them. And that means of communication have the largest influence in the past decade. Internet usage in Pakistan is still limited. Yes, Facebook, Twitter, Skype, people use it. but the educational purpose of internet is still not widespread. When I ask students that if you want to know about it, just go to Google, find it out, come up with questions or do a write-up, there is a very poor response. Probably they don't have access to it, or if they have, then they are not very familiar with it, or simply not much concern. So people do say that social media has made differences. Maybe in the field of politics it may have, or well, in social life also you can say. But in the education sphere, in the learning process, internet has not worked the way it should have. Pakistan is not in a good shape. We all know it. And so the many aspects of it, let's say education, that is also facing a good number of problems. It is deficient, it is teachers are not motivated, sometimes the students go for malpractices, the curriculum is not updated. There are all kinds of problems. There are not sufficient schools. If there are schools, then they are not functioning. The higher education does not have the level to match the international standards. The literacy rate, that is also lagging behind when we compare ourselves with not the developed countries, but even the neighboring countries, then we find that we are not doing as well as others are. But once again, time never stays same. Many things change because of the perception of the people. So as we see our country in all kinds of problems surrounding it, people feel that education is the only way forward in their own life if they want to improve, and the environment within the country if you want to change, the economy if that has to develop. It's always the education that is going to solve the problem. This is what people have understood, if not the governments. So in Pakistan, all families, whether from middle class, elite class or the working class, they are all are keen for their children to get education, primary education, secondary education, whatever they can afford, they are ready for it. And the good thing about is that female child, the girls, they are also encouraged, they are also given opportunity wherever it is. No parent is stopping a girl to going to school or asking the boy to work rather than go to school. The things which were very prevalent in very recent past have changed now. And because of that change, it looks that the things should improve. Quantitatively, they are improving, although at a slow pace, but they are improving. And raising the standards, coming up to the level of the international community, also because of the exams which are held internationally, like Cambridge exams, Oxford exams, like that. Our students are doing better than what they were doing, and at times they are competing with international communities. So education is not in good shape at the moment, but there are indicators that it is improving and it will improve, and it will help solve many of the problems that Pakistan is facing. No, it is not all about Pakistan. It is about Pakistani Americans. So that much background is good enough.
That's
if
good.
we talk about poverty, it is not going to interest anyone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
And many people know about it already.
Okay, so now we can talk about this one thing continuous to what you just said about education system in Pakistan. We can talk about that how come with the same, problems in education system, where the education is not that good according to you, but the same people
Yes.
that who studied there, whether they became a doctor there or pharmacist there or just master's degree in my case, how come when they come here, they compete with other professionals in the same profession who studied here or another developed country?
Our students may lag behind in the quantum of knowledge that they are expected when they graduate, but they have talent and they have drive, and they are ambitious enough that when they go abroad, either for a higher education or for employment, in a short period of time, they are able to compete with the local students or their international counterparts, and they perform very well. That only proves that there are mismanagement, lack of opportunities, not sufficient focus that government should for the education to the young people, and that is why all these complaints are there. But once they are in an environment where their talent is appreciated, where they get proper guidance, they continue their education and they do a higher degree with equal achieving the equal levels, although they must have worked hard making up their deficiencies, but they are able to do it, and that is a proof enough that we are not paying attention to our young men and women for their education, for their training, and this has been a reason that Pakistanis in America or in other Western countries, in England and everywhere, they are in all professions and they have earned respect, they have earned good money, they enjoy status in the society, and they are no less than anyone else.
Very good.
The members of Mohsin family are spread away in a number of countries, in a number of continents. But the feeling and the training that you keep close to your family and keep ties and participate in their happy moments and do help where they need it, that continues to, that survives, that instinct is there. And also because the Mohsin family has done well abroad, so they are in a good position to remain connected and to participate wherever that is needed. For us, marriage is a good example there where people participated in a very large number within the Pakistani Americans that are here and the Muslim family members that are away, a visit from Australia, a visit from Pakistan, visit from other cities of US coming down to New York and participating in marriage, not once but twice, and in all smaller ceremonies that was part of the wedding. That shows that they keep connected. There are many means of communication which are fully being explored and utilized. The families which are in Pakistan and the families which are abroad, Skype is one of them, use of other internet applications that is there, cellular phone that is there, landlines. So they keep connected. They are all well informed To the extent that if I try to tell any news to my daughter in Saudi Arabia, she already knows it. And sometimes she is able to inform me what is going on in Pakistan, in other family members, or what is going on abroad. So it is really a well-connected family and having a very close feeling for one another. And they visit one another, they stay with one at others' places, they invite one another, and it's really good. I have a great feeling being in New York. I'm so much welcomed, I'm so much participating, so much everyone invites, and really, sincerely and truly, and it's a great feeling.
Actually, the development of communication has made it easier now to be connected. And when I came 35 years ago, at that time it was the letter and the phone, but they both had issues. Letter will take 7 days to get there and 7 days to back. So which means that if I want some kind of answer, it will take about 14 days to get the answer if they write me right away. Okay. The phone used to be timed. Like you can book a call for 3 minutes and the operator is going to connect you, and as soon as 3 minutes go, okay, so you have to be very fast, and it would take time. You will dial again and again and it will not connect. Nowadays, you dial once and the number is connected. You can talk as much you want. You have 3 minutes or very low cost. You have Skype, you have Facebook, you have Messenger, so many things. So I think we should take advantage of this and keep in touch for at least on occasions or once in a while. How are you? Something like that. And that goes a long way to keep connected. And so I have done that, and I go there after 2 years for maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But when I go there, everyone, even the child who was born after I came here, but it still meets with me like they know me, So that's because I keep in touch. But now the new generation, the young people here and young people there that they never met, or maybe they met once, long time ago. If they keep connections, through this media, I think they have the relative. It's like you have a friend, like a natural friend. When you have to work on it, that
That's
you have to.
right.
But this is, they are friends right there. You just keep in touch with them, and you'll always be connected. And you never know when you're going to meet with them and where.
Yeah, but they are there.
They are there.
And they are there for you, with you.
Yeah.
I was here in New York some 30 years back. That was a very different time. It was a struggling period. Everyone was trying to build his career. Everyone was trying to raise the family. People didn't have time to meet and to give time. But now they have all been a success. They have all achieved their targets. So they have more time for the people who come here and for themselves and for their community. I think Pakistan-American community have been working together for long. I have always watched the Urdu newspaper that they used to publish, and people participating in it, contributing in it. I know the poets who were coming from Pakistan to here, and there is even a page in our newspaper which reports the activities of overseas Pakistanis. So I can see that all kinds of Eid Milan and Pakistan Day and these things are going on for a very long period of time, and perhaps they are more organized, more participated now that the community has enlarged, and that is a very important part of it. But the next step, as many of us feel, is that Pakistani Americans should get involved in the development of their community here, in the local politics and in the national elections that are held in US. They should send some people in the Congress, in the Senate. That would be a very significant step in the community of Pakistani Americans who are here, not only for their benefit and for their rights, but this is a natural way of moving forward. They have to be part of the larger American society and not just Pakistani Americans.
Mhm.
Choosing science for the as a subject of study, that is determined in Pakistan more by environment, by parents, by family, rather than individual. If you are a good student, if you have good results, if you have good scores, a report card, then you will study science. And that is how I also entered science. Uh, but physics was one subject which always fascinated me, that explored the nature of universe, the laws of universe, how that was there. But then later on I entered into geology, which is more concerned with Earth rather than the whole universe or the cosmos. But after all, it is part of it, and it kept my interest alive. And I also felt that this is a subject which, if you produce good geologists, then that will help in exploring the natural resources and helping the economy. So it was not just teaching, it was not just serving education cause, but it also helping the economy, development of the country. And I am proud of it that many of my students are working in these areas within Pakistan, a good number in Middle East, and as well as in North America. Education has been a very satisfying career for me. I have enjoyed it. It was never a job for me. It was always a very pleasant task and something which I love to do, and I continue to do it.
Do you want to talk about perhaps like better ways of sustaining Pakistan through understanding science?
With the history that we have 1,000 years ago of many Muslims that who either invented something or came up with some idea that benefited later on, and the European philosopher or scientist, they picked up that idea and they made it their own, right? So the person who is studying now thinks that it was invented by this or this, but they don't know the background, that who initiated a lot of things. So talk about some of the scientists, Muslim scientists that who made a contribution to the science world.
और कुछ देखें ये बहुत ज़्यादा relevant नहीं है.
थोड़ी सी वो होती है ना moral. Okay, so we also did something, made contribution to this world. Muslim who made contribution, so it feels good. But for 1,000 years we haven't done anything.
So
Yeah.
it is more of a regret rather than
Right.
pride.
We can just be proud of whatever we did a long time ago. So, okay.
So I don't perhaps like sustainable, ways of, Pakistan through using natural resources. That are they exploring any of that these days, or?
Is there oil in Pakistan?
Well-
That's what he wants to know.
Well, maybe solar energy that they're moving towards, because I read an article that says that
Yes.
Pakistan is looking into solar energy for the electricity.
Pakistan has lot of resources, human resources, natural resources, potential is always very high. We have not realized our potential. That is the main cause of our ailment that we suffer from. We have been exploring mineral resources, we have been exploring coal, we have been exploring oil and gas, and we have successes everywhere. But there hasn't been a success materialized and made effective so that it could change the whole scenario. That has not happened. And that is why you always keep asking that whether it is there or not. Particularly people going to Middle East and seeing that how oil has changed their destiny, their status, their place among the society of the nations. It has happened. And people expect that something like this will happen in Pakistan also. There can be a chance finding, or there can be some natural resources found if you work very hard. Yes, it is possible. But there has to be an integrated development. The country has to rise as a whole. All the people are to get involved and become a workforce, whether it is the field of agriculture, whether it is the field of industries, whether it is businesses, or it is natural resources. It will not happen just in one direction or just one incident that will make everything changed. It has to be an integrated and full development. And that is where the problem of education comes in. That is where the honest work, the thinking of the people has to be changed. That countries develop with your seriousness, your sincerity, your hard work, whatever you are doing, in that you have to do. And that is what is lacking in Pakistan. And that is why in any field you pick up and you find that it has not done as good, as much as it should have done. So Pakistani people have a lot of responsibility. They have to go a long way.
It's going to be all negative. Corruption.
It's quite enough. आप इसको अगर अच्छा
Right.
edit करें तो इसमें it can be a good documentary if you edit it.
Yeah,
very well.
I mean, you
That
pretty
is-
much said everything.
Yeah.
Because we have covered a lot of topics.
Okay.
You can talk about the, not the problems, but what should happen so Pakistan could be on track to prosperity.
That what can be said, I have already said. Now remains only that part which I cannot say.
That's true. Very true.
No, what has to happen in order to, improve the condition of the country? And then we come back to North America. And then we talk about here.
आप कुछ सजेस्ट करें क्या होना चाहिए,
No,
कैसे
but-
पाकिस्तान बेहतर हो सकता है. Logically ले लेते हैं the successes of the family, क्योंकि अगर आप chronological नहीं लेंगे तो फिर चीज़ें आप मिस करेंगे.
Oh, we didn't talk about this now. We are involved.
वहीं से ले लेते हैं.
Right. That, we kept alive our roots in Bihar on a specific village, not even the district or the city, Patna, city, but, we have kept alive.
ठीक है, awesome.
But I'm going to jump in and I will say something otherwise.
Mohsin family comes from a village, Desna, in the province of Bihar in India. It was a small village, maybe 100 houses, maybe 200 houses, but the specific thing was that it was a highly educated uh, group of people. You don't expect in a distant village of a province where you have a good number of graduates from universities. There were a large number of doctors, there were engineers, there were lawyers, and there were scholars. So, for example, Allama Sayyid Sulaiman Nadvi is one of the well-known religious scholar uh, who wrote many books and who was a prominent Muslim scholar and leader in India and as well as in Pakistan. He was member of the committees which framed the constitution of Pakistan, and he was a very well-known figure. There was Sayyid Manazir Hasan Gilani, who was another Muslim scholar and was another village very close to Desna. The people of Desna migrated to Karachi and they continue to remember their roots, and they still meet twice or thrice in a year, and on the basis that they belong to the same village, they celebrate the success of their children, and they also sometimes they publish a directory, sometimes publish accounts of their people who have prominent success. The legacy of education continues in Mohsin family. Our asset is a good education. Our career is a good education. We are not at all in business. We have never gone to that direction. My father, he was a graduate, a master's degree holder and a law degree holder. And then he cared much about all the children that they get good education. And all the four sons, they went to the university. Female education was a little lacking in our family, I must admit, which we compensated in our next generation. So the next generation, the young men as well as women, they have got higher education. All the children of Sabi Bhai, they went to university. All the children of mine, the son and the daughter, Ali and Bina, and sons of Afzal, they went to university in New York. They studied schooling in Pakistan, but then they completed here and they qualified very well in their study of finance, and they are working in these fields. The girls, they went into medical profession. My daughter Bina, she graduated as a medical graduate. The daughter Samira of our youngest sister, she qualified as an MBBS from Dow Medical in Karachi, and then she continued her studies in New York, and she is working as a doctor. Of course, the youngest one, he also. Now it is the children of the children, Sabi Bhai's granddaughters, they are studying and they are graduating from universities in media science or in other subjects. And one of them is at the moment studying in Holland and doing her graduation in physics. She is the first one, the girl, to go abroad and study all by herself. That's quite a proof that how much importance we attach to education. All those young men who were married to daughters of Mohsin family, they all are highly educated. Some of them in Pakistan, some of them abroad. They may even be PhDs or holders of master's degrees, and having a prosperous career. Education have been very strong hold of Mohsin family and of extended family that is around us.
I think the education that you're talking about very important. It is true, it is important, but I think one of the reasons that became more important is because we were immigrant. And we didn't have any land like our grandfather had, okay, in Desna, in Bihar. And if we would have lived in India and we would have inherited those lands, maybe we would not have this higher education.
But if
So-
you look at Desna as a whole, then they all had land, but they all get good education. We never lacked education. And in fact, the importance of education was among the landed gentry, even when we were in Desna. I am not talking about everybody else, yes. But what would have happened that of the several sons, one may not have gone to the university and he may have been more involved in the land affairs and would have depended on that. But most of us would have got as good an education as would have been available in India as well. But yes, you have a point. When we were immigrant, then we have nothing else but to follow.
Right. We don't have any physical asset.
So,
So
it's
we have
education.
the only asset that we can acquire is education, and that's what we were told that hey, we don't have any jaidad from our grandparents, so either you go to school or you're gonna live poor. So we didn't have any choice. And I think the same thing true when people come from Pakistan to either America or England or even Saudi Arabia. I mean, because they leave everything behind and all they come with their education, and some even acquires higher education here. And that's why the first generation, even in this country, is very hard working. And they go and they work very hard, acquire everything, they build to a level. And then the next generation sometime is not as ambitious as the first one. And so that's...
Again, I would differ. I think it is now ingrained. It is now inbuilt. We will not accept a young man or a woman in our family who doesn't go to university. I think whether he is, even if he is not interested, even if he is inclined to go for a business, but he will have to go to university before he starts his business. That is, I think, is going to happen even the days ahead, and whether you are in New York or Houston or whether you are in Karachi. Education will remain the most significant part of our life. The most striking thing about our mother was that she was a very hard-working woman. And she, during the struggling period, if there was anything which was difficult for us, she will make it up by her hard work. And she also had a very clear thinking. She knew what is good for us, she knew what we must achieve, she knew what should be our target. And she kept the course of the family very straight in a very firm way. Many decisions she was able to make. Of course, in our society, men dominate one way or the other, but she was able to get support from my father, from my eldest brother, and make them see that what she feels good for the family, in whatever manner, whether it is education, whether it is the decision of an arranged marriage, or whether it is a decision of moving from one place to another, building a house, whatever it is, she had a very clear thinking and firm decisions and take everybody along with her. That is most remarkable thing about her.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you what you said, and in my case, of course, it was definite that if my mother did not put her foot down, I would not have gone to college or done anything good for my life, because she was the force that she, pushed me to continue college, continue university, and even in that struggling period when you were away for your PhD, and I was struggling in math and science to pass the high school. And as you know that if I don't do good in high school, I would not get admission in a good college. And so it was mother who yelled at Sabi Bhai that he doesn't help me, and he says that, listen, I don't even remember all those things a long time ago. I cannot help him. But yeah, I can do one thing, is that I can hire a tutor who can teach math and science, and that's what he did for 3 months, which helped me to pass at least in a B grade, high school. And then again, that college, I didn't take any interest, but it was that force, and graduated, and then I went to university also, which of course is not just the mother, but you and Sabibhai also. So, I mean, it was the environment in our house that you cannot drop out of college and not have a degree. So even though at that time, I didn't think, so what, like that kind of attitude. But now I think back, so look, if I didn't go, and everybody else has a master's and I don't, we all 4 of us, we have master's degree. And one thing I think
Afzal also did his master because of the family pressure.
family pressure, yes.
So that is why I say education is our best asset, and none of our family members can afford to be without education or with less
Right.
education
Yes.
than a university education.
So
We won't
yeah.
let them do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I mean, it is because of the environment. One thing I miss, that I think you too, Sabibai, and you went to English medium school, and it was a better school. You have much better education than us, me and Afzal Bhai, because we went to Urdu medium school,
I
public
must
school.
correct you, I didn't go to an English school, but this is true that I went to a very good Urdu
Good.
school.
Okay, maybe at that time, yeah, but
It
because-
was a exceptionally good school,
Right.
I must admit.
yeah, because
And the teachers were wonderful.
yeah.
I don't find such teachers anymore.
Right, but I still feel that that my base, because of that public school, is not as good, and I had to work very hard to acquire some knowledge and come to the same level like somebody coming from the English school, and that one thing is still. But I think it was the father's decision that no, we should go to Urdu school and promote Urdu. At that time, I think Major
was-
Aftab Hassan's movement
Had influence.
had influence, and because of that, he listened to him, and we were sent to Urdu medium school, even though he was working for an English medium school, and I didn't go to that school, which would have been a little better, not much better, but a little better.
Yes,
So-
but the next generation, they all went to the best school of the
Yes.
city.
Yeah, I saw that, Charles' children.
We're off topic.
My father was a religious person. He practiced Islam in a very pretty strict manner, to the extent that it was difficult for us to follow him. He didn't insist that we must practice it in that strict, but it was a desire that we do that. But those were different times. My father didn't enjoy a good health. He had an operation of eye at some middle years of his life, and it was not a successful operation. So for some time he was not in job. At other times he took some part time, and uh, he had my elder brother Sabi Mohsin, as we always talk about him, he was a good contributor to our joint family management, and we went through it. My father had a very distinguished personality. He always had, he had a good height, fair color, and always wore very modern clothes of that time. And wherever he sat among the people, he was always identified as someone distinguished. He had a very modern taste. He was very fond of photography, and he had, there is a large number of photographs and albums and all that. From that stage when cameras were not common, where photography was not a common. He was fond of riding horses. He had his own horse, and he used to be the president of the Desna society that we have. He was a president or a chairman of the committee that supervised the housing society in Karachi where we lived. So he had that personality where he will be looked upon for guidance, for leading, and for making decisions.
Actually, he was, I find that he had similar interest that I got, and even Sabibai. One is photography, you already talked about, at that time when even the camera was not very common. There's one thing also, that he was an organizer of organization. He was into that, making a club and something. And which of course I have, from my student life until now, I have some kind of organization that I have joined and in different capacity. So one of them, I don't know if you remember, he made an organization that was very funny, okay? And that was an organization of those who have beard and older, of course at that time, they were grandpa by that time. So the name of the organization was Anjuman Barish Nojawanan, means that young bearded people organization. So
and they used to meet regularly
and
in
they
one
used to
house
meet
or the
in,
other.
in someone's house, and there was one thing that was very interesting, and it happened in Pakistan. Here you can say, okay, this is a different society. One thing was that whoever has at home that you have this meeting going on, the children are participating or not. It was very important. So this way you can see that what kind of relationship parents and children have in this house, and do they listen to, the parent. And so at that time, you have to, keep, your parents, just for their respect, you have to behave and, and respect, his friend. So I remember, because I was young, and so I used to serve and bring things, food and all that. So that was organization, one of the organization. But he was in different organizations before, like you said, Desna Party and different community committees. So I think I got inherited. I think I was the most among all four of us. I think Sabibai was also there, but I was the most in social events and organization got involved. So that's a recollection I have of my father. And also wearing nice clothes, that also I always have. I have a collection of so many ties that I don't even wear, but I have. They are there. So wearing nice clothes is also coming from the father.
Hmm. And you said that he also like he had a pipe. He used to.
Smoking, at that time, yeah. Did he? I think he smoked cigar, pipe, and
Not
at
sure.
one time.
Yeah, sometime.
Yeah, at some time, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So